I think ultimately Rel would have made this composition a little bit easier to pilot, but I think given the lock-in of the Rakan, it's just such an easy choice here to put Peter on this. And might be some plate they look for in trade. No, they're going to collapse instead.
Oh yeah, Sponge. Seeing what he can do here as the Grub goes down to 1 health. Sponge not in range for that one. Looks like Cuz is just happy with taking one of them down. Does still have his smite. Goes back in there, gives Sponge his 1 grub before he heads on over to secure the remainder. So 2-1 in favor of KT here as the charm going to connect on to Cuz. Realm Warp from BDD was awkward because now it's left Cuz completely alone. Now going in, they're doing the do-si-do as the flash forward from Peter doesn't get the heroic charge, but there is finally Sponge being taken down. Doctom caught in the river though, and this is a complete disaster on both sides. Everyone just getting caught out.
A kill for the Xayah.
Yeah, Teddy getting that kill is a huge deal as Pleta on a flank angle here as Doctom with no flash, just gonna get feather stormed. Pullback comes on through and Doctom is just deleted once again.
Oh, that is not what he wants to have happen.
Extra gold over to BDD.
It's an even gold game here, for sure. You know, when you look across the board, some scattered gold leads for KT as, oh boy, Teddy.
Oh dear. Teddy might be giving away some of that cash money. He does have level 7, but remember that Featherstorm still on cooldown. He's got flash, but I just don't know whether he's going to be able to use it, and they give the money to Doctom. That is exactly what KT wants.
Not necessarily leading to significant game-losing advantages, but see if Sponge can find an angle here.
Yeah, Pleta wanting to try and get in there as well as Yukal's come round from the side. Blast cones over as Pleta finds the quickness and they just blow up the Xin Zhao immediately. That will be the Drake secured here by Sponge as well. And man, the pendulum just continues going back and forth, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
Back at it again in the Grub pit here, seeing whether they can lock this one down. First one goes over to Cuz. That's going to get at least 3 for KT. But it goes in, and PDD now in trouble. The charm's fantastic because trying to get rid of them. That Blade Caller was brilliant from Teddy, though, as now Peter looking to try and protect Doctom. PDD in the back of the pit, and they just get murdered. The Doggo going to lock that one down, as that is not a great charm, and casting out of there with the Blast Cone. KT still on the ropes, though, is now casting able to flash his way out. Flash from Doctom there as well. Yukal goes in, and there's the charm. It looks like Peter is going to be the sacrifice as Rich is able to flash his way out. There are a lot of flashes now on cooldown. And he might be able to put that added pressure on DRX, force them to make a decision. As KT get information, BDD on the wraparound as Peter able to avoid the charm nicely. Pleta a little bit awkwardly positioned as there is the keeper's verdict. The flash in from Peter to start the fight as Sponge is getting equalized, has to flash all the way out of the fight as the Featherstorm used so aggressively. And I don't know whether I necessarily agree with it, as now Rich diving on in, casting in to slow him down, but there's the kill onto Cuz, and DRX somehow just made it work.
They made it work, and I think putting all of your engage tools there and committing onto the Nefiri was probably not the game plan in terms of her pressing W and saying, I'm out of here, just noping out of the whole situation. Means that DRX are able to then get the collapse there. Ooh. And they're just so much more coordinated in these fights. It's a Chemtech Soul, which I don't really love here, but
a bullet time is there to stop that approach, right? And yes, you will put himself in harm's way, but maybe that's going to be your way of getting something. Is now BDD trying to get out of the way. It looks like Cuz going to be the target as the quickness comes on forward, and he is just going to be obliterated.
What is happening?
Well, it's not necessarily working here for KT, as Pleta's going to battle dance his way out. Finally, we do see that bullet time, and
there you
it's the
go.
equalizer actually that's able to take down the Rakan. And now everyone diving in on top of Teddy and Yukal. The Harpoon going to connect. The Featherstorm comes down as well, and that is going to keep Teddy safe. But look at this.
Two turrets in trade, one of them an inner. And this is not what KT was looking for. They have the Realm Warp.
Another charge is now Peter looking for Yukal, who just flashes out of the way. And this is just over-indexing.
All right, let's follow up. I'm going to Realm Warp. We're going to hyper dive this. Maybe we'll even get the inner. It just felt like they were like, all right, let's see if we can get this turret. Uh-oh, it's a disaster. Let's see if we can salvage it. And whereas everything else that DRX have been doing this game, especially in terms of team fights, but also on the map, feels very planned out. You know, it feels like it's very methodical.
Yeah.
The way they're playing this game out. Weak angle to exploit, to attack.
Well, it could just be BDD, as now Rich could be in trouble as well. Keeper's verdict is going to knock him up as he looks for Doctom, but it doesn't quite work out. BDD going to be able to teleport his way out of here. Yeah. What happened? Where did he just, yeah, Realm Warped. his way to safety and then teleports all the way over towards this Otacon, as now Pleta could be in trouble. And Yukal is going to make his way in. The doggo is a very long way away. Equalizer just to try and deter Yukal. But it should be Cuz that's able to lock this one down, and there it goes. And now Pleta finds himself the quickness. Casting probably sent home first, but Pleta, it's going to go down. There is that recall that we were talking about. Teddy able to pull back some of these feathers, but only gets BDD, and he's pretty tanky right now. Yukal still trying to be annoying as Teddy caught in the rune prison and just deleted. DRX, you cannot be going for fights like this, as Sponge might be able to clean up, but remember, these are just recalls, and BDD probably didn't need to flash, but still, maybe he doesn't even get sent home as Rich comes on over. Finally, he does get sent back, and now I think the cleanup should be working out, unless Sponge dies. If he dies, it is possibly over for DRX, as Rich possibly burnt to a crisp here. But not going to happen, and so KT lacking some of their buffs now.
Yeah, insta-pings going down onto the Dragon on both sides, as that's going to be the next setup here. Sponge full health. As,
oh no, Rich. To make it rain, invests the flash. Don't know about that one, but still, that was incredible. It's like watching Milo and Otis, you know?
If Sponge gets a steal here, oh god, he's not going to, but
he doesn't even need to go for it, right? They've already got 2 dragons in the pocket.
Let's go!
The good old Raptor for Baron trade is what they're looking for here, as it's down to 3,000, cuz they do evict the Rakan. Is now the bullet time finally in a good position. Casting dives forward though, I don't know about it, because he's just gonna get taken out. These health bars are so low, but still it's KT that are lying on the floor. Doctom needs to get some of these autos to land, as Sponge goes untargetable, and out goes the rest of DRX. So they do kill the Nefiri, they take down the Smite, but they sacrifice 2 on the distance. Having a look here at the gold graph, it really was sort of that one decisive fight for DRX, and then they were able to make basically no headway. There's a really cool hat on this Rise as well. Woven, sorry.
He also has his arm guard. He opted for the Death Note as well. Like he's ready for this next team fight to be the one that ends the game and snowballs him to a victory here. Let's go in.
Yeah, he's looking for the angle as Sponge goes untargetable. Great knock-up as Pleta is going to be the first target. Not quite able to stop him from escaping, is now BDD. Looks for the angle, and Sponge is just going to be cut to shreds. Does finally get that cooldown back, but it is not enough. And back-to-back deaths might just mean that KT locked down this Baron. Sponge, oh no!
Teddy wishes he had his ult right now.
Oh, there's some shock blast damage, but Peter is looking pretty durable. Pleta, not so much. As Casting with some harpoons doing some work here, as Peter just gets rid of the Ahri. Now it's 5 versus 3 around this Baron pit, and KT will be able to lock it down. Cuz with the Smite picks that one up, and now Casting is just going to die as they all take the Realm Warp out of there.
Rich tries to go in and interrupt that one and stop them from getting out, but he's unsuccessful. Placed as, okay.
All right, we're just looking to try and kill Yukal, who's smacked against the wall and taken out. There is still a turret here as well. And so KT might be able to augment this Baron with even more money.
Outer top turret, but that's not usually... It's on the list of Baron achievements that I'd put on my wall.
Yeah, this is like, I mean, it's a 2,000 gold Rebel Baron power play, right? Like, it's not terrible.
So they really can't make that tough call.
Yep, Yukal finds the charm actually onto Casting, who finally has an arm guard. Now we're realm warping, we're looking for the angle. Rich just flashing away, but KT, they get the angle. They take down turret number 1. There goes turret number 2. And now Yukal looking for it in this back line. Doesn't find the charm. They'll lose the dragon, but in trade for 3 turrets, you're probably taking that. As KT, where do we go from here? Where's the out? How does that one work? As in goes the quickness up Rakan. Equalizer doing some work here though, as KT just back out the way they came, I guess. There's the flash out from Casting, and now Sponge might be in the wrong position.
Fine, he's all right.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to flash, doesn't need to worry about anything. But KT are going to look for the Keeper's Verdict here to deny the entry.
Yeah, they get rid of Pleta to start this one off, as Sponge going to have to be an absolute hero. But look at this, the Baron is just eliminated. They do take out the Poppy, but now the Realm Warp looking to get them to safety. Casting is a sacrificial rumble. He's dead. There's nothing that he's going to be able to do about that one. And they'll trade 2 for a Baron. Hang on. Is this Soul for Nexus? Because remember, if they just keep taking turrets, they've got buffed up minions, and that could just be 2 inhibitors to be taken.
The Dragon wasn't even up. DRX really dropped the ball here. KT just
10
walked
seconds
around them, and DRX, bit of a late punish here. Now, can they get the punish is the question. The inhibitors got on that. That's no question, but how many do DRX kill?
Yeah, Dom runs really quickly. And this is something that they've already done. They've just given them the runaround as there is the flash charm from Yukao.
BDD pushing mid at the same time.
Walks up. I think it's utilizing the right-click function of his mouse wolf. That's what he's doing.
And they're not stopping him. They're going to try to look for Chemtech Soul instead as BDD is looking to end the game.
Yeah, he's pinging on the Nexus turrets. It's all right. Sponge is going to be... No! It's Cuz denying the Dragon Soul as well, and BDD takes down the first Nexus turret. Now the Equalizer is down. That one was gorgeous. DRX are just falling apart. KT, it's just one after the other. Better decisions. The flash is gorgeous from BDD, and he walks out of his own realm war because he just does not need it, ladies and gentlemen.
Shot calling voice here.
Oh, watch them just win. Okay, Peter is just going to look to walk this one off. It does not quite work.
Now, BDD did not use his teleport, so he can't just teleport right back in here.
The good old naked Nexus situation here. Dom only needs about 4 shots onto that one as Rich is going to boot Cuz away. And BDD, look at that. He's just walking towards this Nexus. Dom just sees a few autos, flashes out of the way, and KT will get the comeback victory here in game 1, but it was not clean.
I think it's fairly even. The biggest concern for me is how the early laning phase is going to go between Teddy and Dom, because you're supposed to, air quotes, get a nice advantage with the Varus in this lane matchup, but
looking pretty nice in this early stage of the game.
And he almost blinded it, but they decided to go for the Rel instead. I think that was definitely the right choice. A bit of a fight here.
Yeah, Chains of Corruption does just go wide. They had to use the heal to get that extra bit of movement speed, but still, that is KT with a button missing. And they no longer have that to utilize, as they did hit level 6 earlier. Dom actually using that teleport, get that level advantage.
Rich not even having to flash there. Really good movement. The ult misses, but I don't think he's too worried about his. Yukau's going to come over for a punish.
Yeah, Magical Journey coming on through there as Peter only level 4. BDD comes on over, and Peter is actually going to survive. His casting is just going completely ballistic. There's the Infernal Chains, and Yukao is going to get taken down. First blood picked up by his opposite number in the mid lane. Sponge is going to be able to get in here to really challenge too much for the first one, as Cuz does lock that one down.
Committed the smite, so maybe he will be able to trade. As if you commit that one, that's kind of your, I was saying, I'm not holding grubs. I'm smiting and I'm getting out. And you only get one, so Sponge can secure this one without smiting, and then secure the last one, as long as his teammates stay relatively nearby.
Yeah.
And they are not.
Cuz going to move on over, as Sponge now not going to get flicked back, but he's not going to be getting this grub either. So DRX going to have to settle for 4. They're going to be pretty happy about that one, though. Yeah, the Ambessa also is going to get better and better, as now BDD forced to flash. As Sponge going to get thrown back into the rocks. Peter finds a Shattering Strike, as there's the Magnet Storm. Connects onto a couple, but there is a gorgeous use of the Impale. And now Casting is looking to try and turn it all around. Dom turns up as well. One after the other. He's knocking him down. And Teddy's pulled back. Casting just does a drive-by. Leaves that one up to his mid laner, as this guy is a man possessed.
A lot more power in team fights, a lot more consistent engaged, but the Aatrox he's still got, and he is still making work.
Well, Rich is going to see what he can find, as Umbral Dash is going to be the counter. As it turns out, Cuz now able to take this Cloud Drake, and oh man, that is a Hextech Soul. Hoverboard things. As all right, Sponge and Rich going to see whether they can at least grab a structure here.
Hey, Grub power.
Yeah.
They will not get the first one, though.
They will not. And they will also miss out on Feats of Strength for that reason, as we've got some immediately upgraded Merc Treads here for Casting. As, yeah, DRX, they do commit to it. They do manage to take that one down. Dom here in the mid lane is very comfortably able to take control.
Relevant already, but you need to make sure they don't get engaged on.
Whoa! Peter is just looking for it. Okay, BDD, can you find a seismic shove? The answer is no, as now he's face-to-face with Rich. There's an Impale onto 2, but where's the follow-up? There is the public execution, but KT have kept most of them alive until now, as down goes Cuz. BDD trying to get himself out of there, as Dom finally able to affect the fight, but instead, he walks away. And as we say it, KT just go boom. We're able to get it back with some weird shenanigans, as maybe we're going to see some weird shenanigans here as 63 health, and it's Ezreal that locks down the Rift Herald. Eye picked up there by Sponge. And it looks like we are not going to have any weird stuff unless Peter decides to die, which is perhaps what he's going to do.
Looking for another engage here with a good split of DRX right now.
Oh, shove going to be used onto Platter, and he's just dead. He does manage to temper Fate himself, but unfortunately, Fate, once it's tempered, it just comes out of the tempering, and then you're still dead. As True Shot Barrage is going to soften up Doctorm just a little bit, but now 4 versus 5. This is going to be a difficulty as Peter was thinking about trying to find an angle, but it looks like it's just going to be Soul Point.
They have the Herald
for maybe this outer turret. Yeah, the Rift Herald going to be used. Gets a nice charge. But now DRX, can they actually finish it off? And Sponge looking to try and drive his way out. Does manage to do so. It's now Teddy. Oh my god, casting! Flashing on top of him! The Infernal Chain setup is gorgeous! And he just executes the Ezreal. Now he's looking for a little bit more. Doesn't get the Q knock up as the Impale is going to be there. But it's casting that's dictating the end of the world here. It is not you, DRX. And Sponge is going to get brought back to reality. In goes casting once again as the magical journey is taken.
They try to push the mid turret. They will get it here.
Yeah, well,
will
they? Is okay. In goes Rich. PDD makes it out via the Death Chamber, and that's the Ambessa grabbing a kill. This turret is almost dead. It's like
the game might be the final nail in the coffin.
Yep. And that is going to be Sterix now completed here as Teddy taking a lot of damage. There's the Flash Magnet Storm after the Arcane Shift, and Teddy gets sleepy. He does manage to cleanse it away, but now Doctorm comes on over. Tempered Fate comes down, and it is just over for DRX. They lose their jungler, they lose their AD carry. They're going to lose the Dragon and maybe Otacon and this outer turret.
Yeah, and I mean, that's, I think, the final last straw here that broke the camel's back. DRX back broken, now going to come over here and look for some sort of entry into this Dragon Pit, but I just do not see it. No jungler, and it's Otacon, it's Hextech Soul. Teddy did not have Flash. His positioning so suspect, to be totally frank, in that last setup to try to push their way into Dragon.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like game 1 is wearing on DRX as we look here towards game number 2. That would have been a difficult time in the coach's booth and also a difficult time walking away from your PC after losing what should have been your game 1. I think we're seeing the results of that one right here as Hextech Soul on the board. Sponge looking to make his way in as Peter just trying to be a hero as they try and burst it down, and they do manage to do that. Cuz now in a bit of trouble here as the circle does go down, but remember, they have the Voracious Otacon. Rich is still going to die as Doctorm puts an arrow in him as, what was that? Why are we taking that magical journey? That's so strange. Yukal might still be dead here as Casting's just having a great time. And Sponge going to be the consolation Scorpion here for the Aatrox to slurp up. And remember, they have a Weaver's Wall, so that is going to be able to block any sort of approach. Yeah, Yukal's on vision, and Peter is just going to play guard man.
Again.
Yeah, just gets them out of there. That is going to be the Baron over to KT. They have already got Hextech Soul. I mean, honestly, that feels like game over. Just because they've got Lethality Varus with Hextech Soul, and so that means Doctorm is just going to take pot shots forever.
He flashed again somewhere as well, so he still doesn't have his flash up.
In fact, no one does, which is pretty ridiculous. There is a great Shattering Strike onto Pleta as BDD looks for the rocks, and he'll find him as Doctorm is just going 1v2. Sponge now has no damage follow-up as the shield comes in, and I just don't think that Sponge is going to be able to do it. Doctorm will be able to take him down. That's a double, as now Rich is getting tired, he's getting sleepy, and Casting's going to put him in the ground. This one's over, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, there in the final moments, 0 deaths on this Varus. It's a hard POM vote. Like, I feel like it was
pretty cool while he was doing it, which is very impressive. 5.3K on the Rebel Baron power play here.
Yeah, this is
seconds still to go.
Significantly larger than the last
I would say so.
Yeah, as Rich is looking for some bounty gold here in the top lane, that's the state of this game. He doesn't have TP. He is not coming home anytime soon, and they're just going to look for another inhibitor here.
Yeah, and remember, if anyone gets tagged by anything, they're almost just dead because you then get the follow-up of all of the CC. Rich will be able to get this, but it's in trade for everything. True Shot Barrage does connect onto 2, but there's a Magnet Storm onto the rest, and we blinked, and then 2 were dead. Down goes Pleta, down
All
goes
right.
Sponge.
That's a bigger
Unending
vote.
despair. That's what he just picked up. And honestly, I feel like he already had it. As there's a flick back onto Yukal, he's destroyed as well. And the public execution is unfortunately for Rich himself. Down go these Nexus turrets, and KT with a 2-0. But remember, we are not allowed to say it's clean because it absolutely wasn't, even if this game number 2 kind of was.
It was a messy 2-0. There is a lot to see here, Atlas, but at least the momentum does continue for KT Rolster.
These were some of the best highlights from today's matchup. Which moment was your favorite? Let me know in the comment section below. This is OP, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.